Alright, what's going on YouTube? Today's video is going to be about, whether or not the UFO stories in the mainstream media might be used as a kind of globalist propaganda. I made a video about this yesterday, but it didn't turn out that great, so I deleted it and I'm redoing it now. So if you watched it yesterday, this is a different one. And thanks for watching this one. So let's just look at a couple videos really quick. And so
started paying attention. This seems like a huge story. So I know that it's vast and hard to sum up, but if you could just briskly tell us what we think we know about these sightings.
Well, we do know that there are objects in the sky and sometimes in the water that demonstrate extraordinary capabilities that experts say we.
This is a really good video. You can watch it yourself. It's Tucker Carlson talking to Leslie Kean. So basically, he starts off with that he's never going to make fun of UFO theorists again because he knows it's real now, and they got to start taking this thing seriously. There was a little bit of a national security sort of tone to this video, but I want to show you Reagan's video. A lot of you have probably seen this already, but it's short.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
So that in no way is any kind of disclosure. What he's alluding to is sort of a social psychological phenomena, right? So there's these guys, Jeff Greenberg, Sheldon Sullivan, and Tom Pazinski. They're experimental social psychologists. They publish in the Journal of Social Psychology through the American Psychological Association. And their work is based on the work of a guy named Ernest Becker. He died in the 70s, but he got a Pulitzer Prize for his book Denial of Death. And then they say his basic trilogy of his books are The Birth and Death of Meaning, second edition, The Denial of Death, and Escape from Evil. And so basically, it's a psychology of death anxiety, or the psychology of existential anxiety, right? And so it's a complex theory that deals with everything human, but to hone in on this, what happens when groups are threatened kind of psychology. When groups are threatened from an outside source, they tend to draw closer together. They tend to be extremely empathetic and loving towards one another, which sounds like a good thing, but then there's a very unhealthy aspects to it, and I'll get into that in a minute. And they also tend to be much more dependent on leaders, right? They're willing to give up their own free will, their own ability to critically think. They're willing to give up their liberties to authority figures to help keep them safe when they're feeling threatened by an outside group, right? So this is a really good summation on WikiLeaks if you want to read through that, terror management theory. They wrote a book after 9/11 called In the Wake of 9/11, The Psychology of Terror. This is a really good book. And it sort of explains, all the crazy stuff that happened in our culture after 9/11, right? So you got a lot of extremely hysterical patriotism, right? Now, patriotism's a good thing, but it got to the point where we almost had a collective messiah complex. The U.S. is the greatest country in the history of the world, and we're pure and honorable and spiritual, and we never do anything wrong. And Bush became almost like a godlike figure. You had Bill Meyer, or whatever his name is, from Politically Incorrect, got fired, lost his TV show for just criticizing him on air. And so if you look at what happened during 9/11, not only did you have this hysterical patriotism, this collective messiah complex, but you also had this almost complete and total dependency on our leaders, on authority figures like Bush, right? And so if you look at what happened during that time, they used that social psychological sort of phenomena to pass laws like the Patriot Act, where it pretty much eliminated habeas corpus. If someone labels you as a terrorist, they're allowed to come to your home, arrest you, take you to Guantanamo Bay, and hold you without charge indefinitely if they want to, right? And so, then the definition for terrorist is extremely loose and can be applied to, almost anyone, right? And so now then you had the NSA spying program where, you know, everything you do or say on your phone or the internet, all your metadata is collected and stored. People willingly gave up their own liberty, you know, for protection against these terrorists, right? You know, and so just that one attack, you know, during 9/11 was enough to completely dismantle our civil liberties and almost destroy our Constitution, right? So it also gave the executive just extreme amounts of power. You know, it totally undermines our systems of checks and balances. So just take that sort of phenomena, you know, and try to imagine. So right now we're in an acclimation period where they're rolling out, you know, the UFO stories. Yeah, the DoD had a secret, you know, investigation program. Yeah, we're acknowledging these airport, you know, sightings that pilots and you know, the controllers see and all that. This is all real, you know, and so there's going to be a period where it seems very positive, right? And so you have, you know, legitimate people coming on air and they're talking about, you know, what they experience as far as UFOs. And the whole public is just getting acclimated to the reality that these things are real, which they are real. And it's a really positive thing, the soft disclosure. But you know, once they roll this out, there's this undertone though, because there's this undertone that they're a threat, you know, because, you know, unidentified aerial threats is what the DoD called them, right? And so, excuse me, once the public is acclimated to this thing being real, then they can switch on like an extremely aggressive narrative about there being a threat. You know, they're going to invade us. They're going to come try to wipe us all out, right? And so if they do turn that direction, which in my opinion it seems like they're going to, then what's going to happen, right? They're going to say, you know, well, we can't fight them on our own. You know, all the governments of the world need to pull together, you know, and team up to fight this alien threat. You know, so we have to eliminate national sovereignty, and we don't have time to rebuild a new constitution. You know, people are going to have to give up their civil liberties, and we're going to have to go into like sort of a global state of martial law, you know. So I mean, you can just see it playing out, you know, where we eliminate national sovereignty, we eliminate human rights, constitutional rights, we go, you know, into like a global state of martial law. Then we have these tyrannical leaders that were going to be desperate to save us from this alien threat. You know what I mean? So imagine if they took one of those TR-3Bs, one of these deals here. So this is basically, it's been spotted all over the globe, and there's hundreds of videos on it. It's basically based on the technology from a crashed UFO. They back engineered it, and the U.S. government created this craft here, right? And it's often mistaken as a alien ship or UFO, but it's not a very good kept secret. But imagine they took one of these and they attacked D.C. or New York City or something like that, right? And they did a false flag alien invasion. You know, that could kick off this whole one world government thing. The elimination of national sovereignty and global martial law, you know. So it's something to think about, you know. And I think that's the angle, because if Fox News is talking about it, I know Fox News is getting better lately, and then you got New York Times. I mean, these are globalist propaganda networks. That's all they are, is just propaganda sources. They're nothing. They're not news. They're not journalists. And so you have to question everything they do. You know, what's this UFO narrative actually about? It's coming at an interesting time too, where all this stuff going on behind the scenes. You know, I don't know if you agree with this if this QAnon guy is legit or not. Seems legit to me because there's a lot of coincidences. I know at least he's on the Trump team. They say he's in charge of. He might be the guy in charge of his social media post or something like that. But whatever. If the storm is real and all these globalists are in trouble, now would be a perfect time to sort of roll this out. One, to distract people. Two, to get people more susceptible to globalist ideologies, right? Because, like I said, people, they pull together when they're under threat from a foreign threat. And so, like Ronald Reagan talked about, if it's an alien threat from outside the planet, we'll tend to identify as a globe, right? Which is a really good thing, you know, that we sort of transcend our judgments in terms of like race and nationality and culture and all that kind of stuff, and pull together as one human species. But there's, like I said, there's that risk of going into this collective messiah complex, you know. We're hyper patriotic and we don't see our own flaws. We lose our ability to think critically, and we're completely dependent on authority figures, you know, and we're willing to give up our own liberty. So I just want people to be careful and sort of and analyze these videos as they come out. And you know, if you see, I would say make your own videos, make your own social media post, talk to your friends and family, and try to fight this negative sort of narrative, just threat narrative, the false flag, alien invasion, you know, because these aliens, I mean, they've been, if they're aliens, this phenomena has been going on for thousands of years. It's in cave paintings, you know, the Sumerians talked about, I mean, every ancient culture in the world, you know, has had experiences with these same flying objects. And so it's not new, and if they were going to invade us or do something crazy to us, they would have done it already. I mean, some people are abducted by them, and they say they're doing experiments on them, like human alien hybrid experiments, and some people say they've been genetically engineering us for thousands of years now, and maybe giving us upgrades or something like that. You know, I don't know what is happening. You know, I don't understand the phenomena completely, because I don't have all the information I would need. You know, I don't have a classified clearance or anything like that. But anyways, I'm rambling now. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. You know, that it just watch out for the narrative. If it turns negative, then we have to fight that negative, and we can use their own propaganda against them, where we can get the disclosure and fight the propaganda narrative at the same time. So yeah, if you got anything out of this, you like this, go ahead and share it, leave a comment, thumbs up, thumbs down, or don't. That's fine. Thanks for watching. Bye.